When I awoke, I did not know where I was. I could not move. I could not call for help. I could not fight. The nurses at the hospital tried to soothe me, and they even tried unsuccessfully at one point to return me to Americans. On April 1st, while various units created diversions around Nasiriyah, a group came to the hospital to rescue me. I could hear them speaking in English, but I was still very afraid. Then a soldier came into the room. He tore the American flag from his uniform, and he handed it to me in my hand. And he told me, "We're American soldiers, and we're here to take you home." And I looked at him and I said, "Yes, I'm an American soldier too." When I remember those difficult days, I remember the fear. I remember the strength. I remember that hand of that fellow American soldier reassuring me that I was going to be okay. At the same time, tales of great heroism were being told. At my parents' home in Wirt County, West Virginia, it was understaged by media, all repeating the story of the little girl Rambo from the hills of West Virginia who went down fighting. It was not true. I have repeatedly said when asked that if the stories about me helped inspire our troops and rally a nation, then perhaps there was some good. However, I'm still confused as to why they chose to lie and try to make me a legend when the real heroes of my fellow soldiers that day were legendary. People like Lori Piestewa and First Sergeant Dowdy, who picked up fellow soldiers in harm's way, or people like Patrick Miller or Sergeant Donald Walters, who actually did fight until the very end. The bottom line is the American people are capable of determining their own ideals for heroes, and they don't need to be told elaborate lies. My hero is my brother Greg, who continues to serve his country today. My hero is my friend Lori Piestewa, who died in Iraq but set an example for a generation of Hopi and Native American women and little girls everywhere about the contribution just one soldier can make. My hero is every American who says, "My country needs me," and answers that call to fight. I had the good fortune and opportunity to come home and to tell the truth. Many soldiers, like Pat Tillman, they did not have that opportunity. The truth of war is not always easy. The truth is always more heroic than the hype. Thank you.
Now, did you get out of the vehicle during the time that there was the ambush and several of your colleagues were killed?
No, we were traveling at the time, and then we were hit by an RPG. And sometime between that point, I was unconscious and then taken to the hospital.
But you were in the vehicle?
Yes, inside
Yes.
the vehicle.
You never got a chance to fire off?
No, I did not.
All right. Now, but when stories are fabricated, that does a disservice to you. It does a disservice to our fighting force. And I want to say to all of you, thank you for the courage, because there's going to be a counterattack. I'm just as sure as I'm sitting here to disprove what you're saying. But we heard you. You're the ones that went through it.
Your situation, your story?
Well, when all the stories were being created, I was kind of away from watching the news and stuff and hearing all the reports, so I really didn't even know what was going on until a while later. But because I was still in the Army, I wasn't allowed to talk about.
That's a standard rule that you aren't allowed to talk about it. But you did ultimately talk to network television. That was after you were...
Once I was out of the military, I was allowed to speak about what happened.
When you entered the military, let me put it another way. Has this entire incident made you question the handling of public information by the military? Do you think that the country was well served throughout this entire episode?
I do, but I think they could have handled situations a lot better and made sure that the truth was more accurate.
The country was told misinformation. There have been 5 investigations, and there's still unanswered questions. There are 3 internal investigations by the military. Then the Office of Inspector General and the CID split it up and did 2 investigations. The result of your injuries, we told in the Washington Post and other places, is because you were a girl Rambo, and that just turned out to be not true. Yet the statements were made by people in the military to the press. So they were trying to get a story out. And of course, both stories are very self-serving when you think of those who are trying to support the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. But then the military had an opportunity to rescue you, and you were captive for 10 days. But there was a whole day before they captured you when they were preparing not just to rescue you, but to videotape the rescue. Were you aware of that, or aware of it now?
Yeah, I was aware. Well, not at the time. I wasn't aware
No,
that they were
certainly not then.
videotaping me. No, but after the fact, yeah, I knew about it, and
Well,
now I kind of understand why they did it.
Well, maybe you understand it, but it just seems to me that I come from Hollywood. I expect show business in Hollywood, not from the military, and not to support a story that was a fabrication. We heard from our staff interviewed Jim Wilkinson, the Director of Strategic Communications at CENTCOM. He informed us of the plans of your rescue operation. He informed the press operation a full day before it happened. And there's Lieutenant Colonel John Robinson. He is someone who worked for Mr. Wilkinson. He explained to the Washington Post why the press office was so interested in getting video of your rescue, that they postponed your rescue to do this. And he said, we knew it would be the hottest thing of the day. There was not an intent to talk it down or embellish it because we didn't need to. It was an awesome story, the awesome story of your rescue. Well, this might have been an awesome story, but this was your life, and you were the one feeling the pain, and they were trying to stage a rescue to sustain their heroic story that they made up, and your story was heroic enough without that fabrication. I want to